Hi everyone, this is Fabi here. In today's video, we are going to compare the camera on the iPhone 12 mini with that on the iPhone 11. What you see right now is 4K footage from the front-facing camera of the iPhone 12 mini, whereas what you see right now is the front-facing camera on the iPhone 11. What I have to say is that both of these are filming at 4K 30 frames per second, but you have to keep in mind that I have shaky hands, so you will be able to see just how well the stabilization works on the front-facing camera, which doesn't have optical image stabilization as the back-facing camera has on the iPhone 12 and on the iPhone 11. So going on, we are going to take a look at some pictures taken by all of the cameras on these phones, and we are also going to take a look at some video that we shot on these phones. Okay, so first of all, taking a look at pictures from the back-facing camera on both phones. This is the main camera. You can obviously tell that the colors are much more vibrant on the iPhone 12 mini, and it just feels like a more pleasant picture, a picture that is closer to real life. Moving on to the second picture, I want you guys to focus on the tree. On the left side on the iPhone 12 mini, you can see a lot of detail. You can see that the colors are saturated, whereas on the right, it just feels like it's all washed out. Going on, we have a close-up shot with the back-facing camera, the main camera on the both phones, and this is not a portrait shot, but because we are really close to our subject, we can see the bokeh in the background. What I like here is the color on the pillars on the iPhone 12 mini on the right side of the picture, whereas on the iPhone 11 those pillars just seem washed out. This image is all about the high dynamic range of the iPhone 12 mini. We can see detail in the sky, we can see details in the leaves. There's just no contest here. Over here again, the high dynamic range makes a world of a difference. You can look at the sky on the left on the iPhone 12 mini and then on the right, and you will see what I'm talking about. In this shot, both the iPhone 12 mini and the 11 nailed the colors of the grass and of the leaves, but if we look at the top left, there's a tree over there, and on the iPhone 11 that tree is really washed out. This seems to be a trend with the iPhone 11. A lot of things that are not really the main subject of the picture tend to come out washed out. Now, it's not all bad with the iPhone 11, as I think this is the first picture where I'm going to side with it, because I just like the warmer colors that it produces when it comes to these reeds. Now it's time to take a look at a portrait shot with the main camera on both phones, and again, with the iPhone 11, it feels like it's got a gray filter put on top of the picture. Look at the tree in the background. You can see that again it's washed out, whereas on the iPhone 12 mini, all of the colors are popping and they're vibrant. With this interior shot, I feel like both phones have nailed it. There's no thing that is off on either picture, so kudos to both phones. Okay, so this night mode shot is a little bit of a tough one. On one hand, I like the warmer colors that the iPhone 11 reproduces, whereas on the other hand, I like the fact that the iPhone 12 mini is able to pull a lot more details, especially if you look at the writing on the window. Okay, now it's time to take a look at the fun camera, the ultra-wide one. So with the iPhone 12 mini, again we see a lot more detail, but take a look at these two pillars. I just don't like how saturated the colors look. Different picture but same story. I feel like with the iPhone 12 mini you get a lot more detail, whereas with the iPhone 11 I just like the colors better. And especially look at the clouds, look at the sky. With the iPhone 12 mini, those are just way too blue. They weren't like that in real life. Now we get into uncharted territory. So on the iPhone 12 mini we have night mode on the ultra-wide camera as well, whereas on the iPhone 11 we don't have that, and we can see the difference. If we take a look at the ground on the iPhone 12 mini, you can see the detail, whereas on the iPhone 11 we can't see that because it probably had to crank up the ISO, so there's a lot of noise in there, and it had to reduce the noise, so we lost all the detail. Because the 12 mini didn't have to do that much noise reduction, it does mean that the sky on the 11 is going to look a little bit more natural than on the 12, where it looks a little bit pixelated. Briefly taking a look at portrait shots using the front-facing camera on both phones, I feel like with the iPhone 12 mini, it manages to capture more light, and it's also able to detect my face better and my hair better, because on the iPhone 11 it feels like the top of my hair is a little bit blurry because it probably thinks that it's not my hair anymore. Okay, so moving on to video, this is 4K 30 frames per second footage taken with the main camera on both phones, and there's not much to say. I feel like both phones are pretty adequate at this. Again, the iPhone is always a pretty good shooter, but in this case both phones reproduce really good quality video. In a few short seconds you'll be able to see how the stabilization works with both phones while walking, and I feel like both phones do a pretty decent job. I do want to take a moment to tell you guys to like this video and subscribe if this video did help you out, and also make sure to stay tuned for more content regarding the iPhone 12s. Moving on to some ultra-wide 4K 30 frames per second shots, if you pause and look at the tiles on the floor, you'll be able to see that the iPhone 12 mini pulls a lot more detail in, whereas the iPhone 11 just looks a little bit less detailed. As far as the colors go, the camera on the 12 mini doesn't oversaturate anymore as it did with pictures, so this is a good thing. Last but not least, let's take a look at some 60 frames per second walking footage from the back-facing camera on both phones. And again, you can see the colors on the iPhone 12 mini just look a lot better, especially if you look at the foliage in the background. Also, it might just be my eye, but it feels like the stabilization is better on the iPhone 12 mini when walking. Anyways guys, back to the front-facing camera on the iPhone 12 mini. You can also see what the microphone sounds like. Keep in mind I'm wearing a mask because it's COVID times in 2020, but you'll be able to hear just how good the audio quality is, especially given that there's some background music playing on in the background. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys did like this video, make sure to click the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more coverage on these new iPhone 12s. Stay tuned.